Today's the Wrap It Up Challenge, and I've got 5 fun wrapping ideas to show you with something for everyone on your list. I've got ways to spruce up even the most basic wrapping paper, some hard to wrap gifts, and I even included a creative way to present a money gift. So cozy up with a warm beverage and let's get to wrapping. For this first package, I'm starting out with the most basic brown paper. This isn't even wrapping paper, it's the brown paper you can find in the mailing section of Dollar Tree. And if you want to be extra green with this, you could even cut apart brown grocery bags to achieve the same look. So this project is all about the embellishments. I saw this little tree topper and loved the black and white and green and red together, but I also thought that the twine in it would tie in well to the brown paper. I wrapped the corners with black and white gingham ribbon, which matched the star perfectly, and then I found this dried green baby's breath, which is perfect for the farmhouse look. I divided the bunch in half and trimmed off the stems and placed them together with the tips facing outward and the stems overlapping slightly in the middle. Then I tied them right where they overlapped using the ribbon. Next, I grabbed some pitberry stems that I got at a garage sale, but you could use the pitberry garlands from Dollar Tree for this as well. I cut about 5 of them and tied them on top of the greens. I just threaded some twine through the twine that wraps the star and used that to tie the star to the ribbon. Then when I knotted the ribbon one more time, everything was securely attached. I zhuzhed and twirled some of the berry twine to mimic the look of curly bows, and then I didn't care for how the excess ribbon looked, so I ended up trimming that off and the package was complete. And here it is. I just love how this turned out, and I never thought I'd be able to achieve such a beautiful package using brown mailing paper. It just shows that you don't need expensive wrapping paper. With the right combinations of embellishments, you can really spruce up even the most bland wrapping. Next is our first hard to wrap gift, and I found that leftover food canisters are great for keeping awkwardly shaped items contained. Take this soap dispenser for example. The nozzle could easily tear paper, but popping it in the Swiss Miss container works perfectly. First, I taped the wrapping paper around the canister, and then you could easily tie ribbon around each end of this and call it done, but I had a different idea for this and I thought it was super cute. We're going to try to make it look like candy with a cellophane wrapper. For that, we're going to fold in the ends. Now, I've always just folded the wrapping paper in toward the middle, but I recently saw a trick on TikTok to make the ends look much more finished. You cut slits about a ½ inch apart all the way around the perimeter, then you'd fold the strips in, and it lays much flatter than the original crumpling method. Now I'm taking clear cellophane and taping a layer around the package, making sure the taped part is on the same side that the wrapping paper is taped on. I tied each end off with some curling ribbon, trimmed off the excess cellophane, and then I used my scissors to curl each of the ribbon strands, and this one was finished. There are tons of different sizes of food canisters, and they work for anything awkwardly shaped like action figures or anything that has parts that poke out or an odd shape. Here I'm showing the same basic technique on a Pringles container, which I've heard is great for giving away homemade Christmas cookies. And here they are. I think these are so fun, and this method would work with any type of wrapping paper underneath the cellophane, but I think it especially looks nice with stripes or any pattern that you would typically see on candy. Okay, next I'm showing another way to wrap a cylindrical gift. I'm using another soap dispenser, but this technique could work for anything with a narrower top like a bottle of wine or liquor, sauces, shampoos, or lotions, and numerous other things. I started with a piece of tissue paper and placed it over the top of the dispenser. I cinched it around the neck of the bottle, and I normally would have used a rubber band, but I couldn't find one, so I ended up using twine to tie the tissue paper around the neck. Then I folded the tissue upwards and grabbed this cute wrapping paper with the peppermints. This is from Dollar Tree along with all my wrapping paper, tissues, and embellishments I'm using today. I taped the paper around the dispenser and used the same cutting trick from the last project to fold the paper on the bottom side. While I'm wrapping, I'll mention that today's video is part of the Wrap It Up Challenge hosted by Julia from Crafting with Julia and co-hosted by Corey from Crafted by Corey. I'll have links to both of their channels as well as the playlist for the challenge in the description box below, so be sure to check out their channels and then hop to the playlist to see what everyone comes up with. Once the bottom was all tucked in, I used my same curly ribbon to tie the wrapping around the neck as well. So if we hadn't done the tissue paper trick, you'd have to do 2 ties, one around the neck and one around the top. I think this way looks more festive, but it still conceals the top so the recipient can't see what's inside. And here it is. There really are so many gifts this would work for, and the tissue paper trick is really a fun hack. Okay, next we're tackling a stuffed animal. This is a medium-sized one, but this method could be used even for giant stuffed animals like our giant frog we refer to as Fred the Frog. You would just substitute a plastic tablecloth from Dollar Tree for the paper. For these, I think foils work best because they are tougher and won't tear as easily. Dollar Tree has lots of foil options, so I picked this nice metallic blue color. Start out by figuring out how much paper it takes to go all the way around the animal, and then add the width of a hand or two for good measure. It's hard to tell on camera, but this animal is a decent size, and it took almost the entire roll of the Dollar Tree foil. I think I only cut about 5 inches off. I laid the paper flat on my surface with it overlapping slightly and taped it down the center. Now we're going to fold the bottom up. The amount you fold up depends on the size of the animal, but we're creating a bag, and this will determine how wide the bottom of the bag is. I folded up about 8 inches. Then you separate the 2 layers of the piece you just folded up, which exposes the silver inside of the paper, and bring the top layer down and flatten it. This forms a triangle on either end of the piece. Next, fold down the top to the center and the bottom up toward the center, overlapping slightly, and tape it all down. We've now created the bag. I switched the bear out for something else I can't show yet because they are actually Christmas gifts for some family members, but I had something really special made as a remembrance gift for my mother, and these fit perfectly in the bag. And you can use these for anything you would typically put in a gift bag. You can fold over the top, but for these I tied them with some nice wired ribbon. Now I'm showing another variation for this, and the options are only limited by the options of tissue paper you can find. Dollar Tree usually has the large clear cellophane bags that are used for gift baskets. If you can find those, you can skip this, but they didn't have those at my store this time, so I just followed the steps from the previous piece to make a clear bag using the basic cellophane we used for the candy packages. Then I used this cute plaid tissue paper to line the bottom and around the animal, and I created a fun little blue and white plaid bag. My mother was never a fan of store-bought gift bags. She just thought that taking the extra time to wrap something made it more special, and I tend to agree. I do think these are the best of both worlds. They're versatile like a real gift bag, but they're still from the heart. Wrapping is something that Mother and I always did together. We'd get tons of ribbon and paper during after Christmas sales at the craft stores and save it all for the following year. Then we'd get iced cappuccinos from Tim Hortons, turn on the Christmas tunes, and get to work on our respective pile of gifts. We'd have little contests for who wrapped the prettiest package or came up with the best wrapping and ribbon combos. Those are definitely the memories that I'll cherish. When I mentioned that this method could be used for really large stuffies, I had Dollar Tree plastic tablecloths in mind. They have plain colors, but they also sometimes have patterns, like I've seen a Lego one, or sometimes I've even seen florals or birthday patterns. So here they are, and of course these aren't the over-the-top beautiful packages, but I think this is a really practical hack that you can use to wrap something that doesn't come in a box. Let me know what you think in the comments, and also let me know if you are for or against the typical gift bag. Okay, well, I think I saved the best for last. I'm not a huge fan of gift cards or cash, but sometimes, especially for teenagers or young adults, it's really the best thing to give. So here's a creative way to present money so that it's something you can physically put under a tree and not just an envelope. I started with a small square gift box from Dollar Tree, and I'm using a knife to cut along the corners so that the sides fold down flat. Then you just take bills and roll them up. I'm using mostly $1 bills here, but use whatever denominations add up to the gift that you want to give. You can use double-sided tape to stick the bills down to the box, but I prefer to use glue dots. I get these glue dots from Amazon, and I can link the kind I use in the description box below. I have found that they are much better than the ones you can get at Dollar Tree, and also better than the more expensive scrapbooking dots available at the craft stores. I just placed the dots where the very end of the bill was so that it both held the roll closed and could be used to attach the roll to the box. It took about 6 rolls for each side, so that's 24 bills to cover just the sides, so keep that in mind when you're choosing the denominations. You could cover the center part with more rolls. You could even form a pyramid with the rolls, which might be cute, but I thought it would be fun to have an origami heart. I found a few different ways to achieve the same basic look, but I thought that this was the easiest. I'll provide a link to the tutorial that I used for this in the description box below. You'll see that I used one of my son's fake $100 bills for the origami part because I thought it would be fun to use a larger denomination for the center one. And the way it's folded shows the denomination, so it could be a really good reveal too. You start out by turning the bill over so it's face down and then fold it in half to create a crease down the center. Then you fold each side inward to line up with the center crease. Now flip it over so that the face is back on top and fold the 2 bottom corners upward until they meet the center crease. This forms a point at the bottom. Next, fold the top of the bill down so that it touches but does not overlap the other pieces. Then, similar to how we created the bottom of the bags, separate the 2 layers of the piece you just folded down and press it down flat. This forms a triangle on either end of the piece. And finally, fold down the inner flaps to complete the heart shape. Use more glue dots to stick it down in the center and you're done. The box on its own doesn't look like much, so here's a little reveal for how it works. I think this is so fun, and what kid, or really what person, wouldn't be happy to receive this? It's a really practical gift with a fun spin. Thanks for joining me today. I hope there's at least one of these options that will help you out. And if you found me from the Wrap It Up Challenge, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with my content. I'll be taking a little break while my kids are on winter break, but I'll be back in the new year with some great winter DIYs that you won't want to miss. And I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season filled with love. See you next time. Bye.